In the name of Allah, the Kind and the Merciful. Salam and blessings on the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Aima Atahar alayhi salam. The purpose of this Air Guide Hajj group briefing is to quickly go through the rulings about performing Hajj. The topics explained hereafter require a detailed discussion for developing proper knowledge of Hajj arkans. Our objective today is to give you an outline on these topics so that it is easier for you to perform Hajj. There are certain important points one should consider before Hajj travel. Taqleed. Taqleed means following the rulings of Mujtahid. A person who is not Mujtahid and he performs actions without Taqleed, his actions can be invalid and batil. Taqleed is to be done of an alim mujtahid, means the person who is most qualified to give rulings and ahkam from Quran al-Kareem and Ahadith. To find that person is your responsibility. Second topic is Khums. Khums is not directly related to Hajj, but it is a responsibility of every believer. If someone has Khums due this year, and it turns out that if he pays Khums, he will not have enough money to go for Hajj, then Khums has priority. And it is possible that after paying Khums, that Hajj is no longer wajib on him because of shortage of funds. If you bought Hajj Ihram and did not pay Khums on that Ihram, then your Hajj can be batil. Third item is Qirat. Proper recitation of Arabic sentences with proper makhraj pronunciation is very important on Hajj. There are only two things that are to be recited for Hajj arkan. First is Talbiyah and the second is Namaz-e-Tawaf, whether it is the Tawaf of Umrah or Hajj or it is Tawafun Nisa. For these two things, your pronunciation should be correct. So if you have not checked your pronunciation through some local prayer leader or some qari, please get it checked before Hajj. Similarly, get your prayer checked and the recitation of Talbiyah also. If your prayer is invalid, then your tawaf is incomplete. And if your Talbiyah is invalid, then your Ihram has not started yet. The fourth topic is to know the basic rulings of Najasa and Tahara. Impurities and Purification. Purification includes wuzu and ghusl rulings. It is important to get your wuzu checked by some scholar and also get your method of ghusl checked by explaining your method to the scholar. Now we come to the topic of Hajj, Tamattu. People who live farther than 80 kilometers from Makkah, when they come for Hajj, their Hajj is called Tamattu. Hajj Tamattu has two parts. First part is called Umrah Tamattu. The second part is known as Hajj Tamattu. Today we will talk about Umrah Tamattu only in a bit detail as it occurs first. Hajj Tamattu starts on the 8th of Zilhajj after Umrah Tamattu. Umrah Tamattu is performed first after landing at Jeddah. So it is necessary that you have a better understanding of Umrah Tamattu. Air Guide Hajj Group Alim-e-Deen are always with you for step-by-step guidance whenever any Hajj Rukun is performed. Umrah Tamattu has 5 parts. The regular Umrah outside of a Hajj is called Umrah Mufrada and has 7 parts. The 2 additional parts in Umrah Mufrada are Tawafun Nisa and Namaz-e-Tawaf Nisa. 5 wajib parts of Umrah Tamattu are: 1. Wearing of Ihram from Miqat. 2. Tawaf of Kaaba, 7 circles. 3. 2 rakat prayer after the Tawaf behind Maqam-e-Ibrahim. 4. Sa'i between Mount Safa and Marwa. 5. Taqsir. We will address Hajj Tamattu later. First of the 5 wajibat of Umrah Tamattu is wearing Ihram from Miqat. What is miqat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designated 5 locations around Makkah that when a person crosses one of those 5 locations to enter Makkah, he should wear ihram at that location and then go to Makkah. These are on various routes of travel to Makkah. These days we travel by air. Air guide group will land at Jeddah airport and travel to Jaffa, one of the miqats. Air guide group will wear ihram from Jaffa and do the niyat of ihram. You will be guided by the accompanying air guide group Maulana at that time. Usually when we pass a miqat while traveling by air, the crew makes announcement during flight that you are passing a miqat, so you may wear ihram. Ignore that announcement as it does not apply to Fiqh Jafriya, since we believe that miqat is a physical location on ground and not in the air. There are 5 miqat: Jaffa, Masjid-e-Shajrah, Dat al-Arq, Qarnul Manazil, and Yalamlam. Wajibat of Ihram. For men, it is wajib to wear 2 sheets of cloth, one covering upper body and the second covering the lower body. These 2 sheets should not be see-through. The 2 sheets are minimum, but men can wear more sheets if feeling cold. For women, their regular clothes of prayers is their ihram. It should not be see-through and should cover what is normally required for prayers. In addition to this, since she is in public, she will be required to wear socks. She can open the face just like she does in the prayers and expose the hands up to the wrist joint only. Men and women can change ihram if it gets najis or dirty. Further details will be given in the Air Guide Hajj class later. After wearing ihram, men and women both should pronounce niyat of ihram. That is, I wear ihram of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj-e-Islam qurbatan ilallah. Pronouncement of intention is not necessary. The intention in your heart is sufficient. But it is better to say it in the context of Hajj. Third wajib is to recite Talbiyah.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
This is the wajib part. Then it is mustahab to say
إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Men should recite Talbiyah in the normal voice and women should recite in a low voice. Reciting Talbiyah once is wajib and it is mustahab to repeatedly recite Talbiyah 70 times. But one should stop it when you see the houses of old Makkah. There are few makruhat of ihram for men and women, meaning better not to do those things. If you do those, your ihram is still intact, your ihram is still correct, but sawab is reduced. Wearing of black color is makruh. It is better that your ihram is white. Sleeping on a yellow color sheet or yellow color pillow is makruh. Wearing dirty ihram is also makruh. There are few mustahabat, better to do acts of ihram. Those are cleaning body and taharat before wearing ihram, trimming nails, trimming mustache, removing unwanted hair, ihram dress to be of cotton, doing ghusl of ihram before wearing ihram. This can be done at Jaffa as facilities are there. Performing 2 rakat namaz-e-Ihram, ihram of being white color. Now after wearing ihram, 23 things become haram on men, whereas 21 things become haram for women. 19 of those are common between men and women. 1. Hunting on land. 2. Covering nose from bad smell. 3. Removing hair from body. 4. Taking out blood from body. 5. To kill or remove lice. 6. Swearing, even if true. 7. Removing tooth. 8. Performing nikah or to be witness. 9. Grooming, makeup, etc. 10. Use of powder in eyes, surma. 11. Intentionally looking into the mirror for grooming purpose. 12. Massage with oil or lotion. 13. Lie or use abusive language. 14. To indulge in sexual act of any form, kissing, looking or touching with the intention of lust. 15. Masturbation. 16. Use of perfume, scented soap or shampoo, or eating fragrant food or item. 17. Cutting nails. 18. Removing grass from haram. 19. Carrying weapon. If you look at this list, you will notice that few things are haram in normal situations also, and now they are listed in ihram situation too. They are haram, not allowed normally, but their value of hurma increases when in ihram. So when out of ihram, some of these listed things will become halal, but those that are haram in normal situation will remain haram. They do not become halal just because we are not in ihram anymore. For example, lying, using abusive language, etc. There are few things that are haram only for men, and there are few things that are haram only for women. 4 things that are haram only for men are: 1. Wearing stitched clothes. Men cannot wear stitched clothes, including undergarments. For men, it is not allowed to put a knot or use safety pin in the sheet covering the lower body. But a belt like fanny pack is allowed to keep phone, cash, etc. In the top sheet of ihram, men can use safety pin, but precaution is not to use a knot. In the Air Guide Hajj class, you will be guided how to wear ihram. If you wear it in that manner, it is quite possible that you will not need the belt. 2. Men cannot cover upper portion of both feet like wearing shoes or socks. You can wear slippers or sandals that do not cover your whole foot. A small strap on top of the sandal is allowed. Covering of feet with a sheet or a blanket is, however, allowed. 3. Men cannot cover their head and ears in any manner, like with a cap or a sheet, etc. 4. Traveling under the shade. From sunrise to sunset, men are not allowed to travel with a shade on their head, the kind of shade that moves along with you like an umbrella, as an obligatory precaution of Ayatollah Sistani. So traveling in a car or a bus is also haram during daylight, but walking under the shade of a building or a tunnel is allowed. Acts considered haram only for women while wearing ihram are: covering face, wearing of niqab that touches the face is not allowed. Wearing gloves. Ihram and Talbiyah are the first part of Umrah Tamattu. Some important aspects of Ihram and reciting Talbiyah we have already addressed earlier. Now once you are wearing Ihram, recited Talbiyah, now perform Namaz of Ihram. It is mustahab to offer 6 rakat. If not 6, then offer 2 rakat like Fajr prayers. If it is time for a wajib prayer, for example, if you are at Miqat and it is time for Maghrib and Isha prayers, then offer your Maghrib and Isha prayers. Now, it is not necessary to offer these 6 or 2 rakat prayers for Ihram. Your wajib prayer is sufficient. Next step in Umrah Tamattu is Tawaf of Holy Kaaba. That is, circling around Kaaba. When we say Tawaf of Kaaba, means not just one circle, but it means going around Kaaba 7 times. That makes a complete tawaf. Next is intention. I perform tawaf of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj-e-Islam qurbatan ilallah. Saying it out is better. There are some conditions of tawaf. The first is where the tawaf should be done. It is done in the open space around Kaaba on the same level where Kaaba is built. This is called mataf. Tawaf should be done on the ground floor or a floor which is not higher than the roof of the Kaaba. There are 4 corners of Kaaba. One of them has the black stone Hajr al-Aswad installed on it. The tawaf begins with this corner and ends at this corner. To recognize Rukn of Hajr al-Aswad, first sign is that immediately after this Rukn is the door of Kaaba. Second sign is that when Hajr al-Aswad is on your left, there is a green light on your right hand side. It's an indicator for tawaf's starting point. As a precaution, start your tawaf a few steps before this Rukn. Stand a couple of steps before Hajr al-Aswad corner, keeping your left shoulder towards Kaaba, and make your intention that I am performing tawaf of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj-e-Islam qurbatan ilallah. Now during tawaf, 7 circles, your left shoulder should remain towards Kaaba at all times. Your tawaf will be anti-clockwise, so naturally your left shoulder will be towards Kaaba. When you start your tawaf, a few steps later, you will see on your left a semicircle wall next to Kaaba. This is called Hijr Ismail. It is required that your tawaf should be outside this area. So do not walk between Kaaba and this semicircle wall during tawaf. Tawaf should be done continuously. Your first round started from Hajr al-Aswad, continue the circle till you finish the 7th round by crossing Hajr al-Aswad by 2-3 steps. You don't have to stop at Hajr al-Aswad each time or say something or look at it. Just continue your tawaf around the Kaaba without stopping anywhere. Do not stop during tawaf to the point that it can be said that you have invalidated the continuity. It is not wajib to recite any du'as during the tawaf, but it is better to do so. Other wajibat of tawaf. Tawaf should be done with your own intention and will. There is a small sloped wall at the base of Kaaba. This is called Shazirwan. While doing tawaf, should not step on it. Niyat should be done, as we explained this on previous slide. Your body and clothes should be tahir. If they become najas during tawaf, make them tahir immediately. Details will later come in Air Guide Hajj class. You should have wuzu or ghusl, whatever is your responsibility before and during the tawaf. Private parts should be covered. For men, it is their private parts. But when it comes to women, it is their whole body, excluding face and hands. It is their hijab. Men should be circumcised. Few things are very important regarding tawaf. Keep the count of tawaf with attention, because if you have doubt between the number of circles, whether this is my 6th circle or 7th circle, the tawaf is void and you have to start over again. You may take a paper and pencil and write the number as you go on, or have a counter. Or another way is to use names. For example, Ya Allah for the first circle, Ya Muhammad for the second, Ya Ali for the third, Ya Fatima for the fourth, Ya Hassan for the fifth, Ya Hussein for the sixth, and Ya Imam-e-Zamana for the seventh. If wuzu becomes invalid before completing the 4th circle, then as per Ayatollah Sistani, the tawaf is void. Perform wuzu again, come back and start from the beginning, meaning from circle 1. If wuzu is invalidated after starting the 5th circle, then note the spot where it happened, go, perform wuzu again, come back and start from the same spot and complete the remaining tawaf. You cannot start a new tawaf from count 1. It is always better to consult accompanying Air Guide Group Alim-e-Deen on such matters. Namaz-e-Tawaf. After completing 7 circles of tawaf, now you have to offer Namaz-e-Tawaf. This is done behind Maqam-e-Ibrahim, situated in front of Kaaba door. It is the place where in a glass case there are rocks with footprints of Prophet Ibrahim. You go behind this maqam and pray 2 rakat namaz of tawaf. Keep in mind that you are behind Maqam-e-Ibrahim and also as close as possible. If it is not possible to get both behind and near Maqam-e-Ibrahim, then you can stay a bit back behind Maqam-e-Ibrahim and offer 2 rakat namaz-e-Tawaf like Fajr prayers. You do the intention, I am offering namaz for Tawaf of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj Islam qurbatan ilallah. There should not be too much gap between Tawaf and Namaz-e-Tawaf. Maximum time you can have is the gap of 10 minutes. Sa'i of Mount Safa and Marwa. First do the intention for Sa'i. I am performing Sa'i of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj Islam qurbatan ilallah. Saying it out is better. And then start Sa'i. After completing Namaz-e-Tawaf, next wajib of Umrah Tamattu is to perform Sa'i. Sa'i is walking between Mount Safa and Marwa 7 times. From Safa to Marwa it is 1 count. Coming back from Marwa to Safa is a 2nd count. So on the 7th count, you will be going from Safa to Marwa, ending the Sa'i at Marwa. There are 3 floors available for Sa'i: basement, ground floor and first floor. Sa'i on the first floor is not allowed as per Ayatollah Sistani and most other Maraja. Sa'i on the basement is allowed as per Ayatollah Sistani, but the best option is to do Sa'i on the ground floor. Wuzu is not required for Sa'i, but it is better to have wuzu. Use the same method to remember the counts that we used for Tawaf. There should not be a big gap between going back and forth between Safa and Marwa. All rounds should be done in continuity. It is not wajib to recite any specific dua during Sa'i. However, there are some duas that are recommended to recite during the Sa'i. But it is sometimes difficult because of the crowd to do so from a book. You can do any other zikr during the walk, like reciting durood. Just for your information, these are Mount Safa and Mount Marwa. But today, when you go back and forth, you don't see the mounts. Go up the slope and go up to the last pillar on top as a precaution on both mounts. When you walk between Safa and Marwa, you will see green lights for a short passage. It is mustahab for men to walk fast, not run in between these green lights. Women are advised not to walk fast between these green lights, as it is not mustahab for them. If men do not walk fast between these green lights, their Sa'i is still correct. While walking from Safa to Marwa, chest should be facing Marwa. Similarly, walking from Marwa to Safa, chest should be towards Safa. The next wajib act to perform after Sa'i is Taqsir. It is the last wajib part of Umrah Tamattu. Taqsir means cutting some hair of your head or beard. Cutting of nails is not sufficient as per Ayatollah Sistani's obligatory precaution. Do the following intention before Taqsir. I am performing Taqsir of Umrah Tamattu of my Hajj Islam qurbatan ilallah. Saying it out is better. Taqsir can be done by a person himself or by a person whose Taqsir is done. A person whose Taqsir is not done, they cannot do Taqsir of another person. Since we are talking about Umrah Tamattu here, both men and women will do Taqsir. Halq, shaving of the head for men, is not allowed. As soon as Taqsir is done, Ihram is finished and Umrah Tamattu is also completed. With this, restrictions of Ihram are over. Now until Hajj, you can't leave from the boundaries of Makkah. Some restrictions which apply to Hudud-e-Haram, like hunting, cutting tree, etc., remain in place. Similarly, now you cannot perform any Umrah Mufrada also. This concludes our talk about Umrah Tamattu part. We will discuss these topics in much detail in Air Guide Hajj classes. Now we will quickly go through the arkans of the second part of Hajj called Hajj Tamattu. This part requires detailed briefing, which we will do in the Air Guide Hajj classes. Please remember, Alim-e-Deen are in the Air Guide group and accompany you for each and every rukn of Hajj, and they guide and brief you at every step. So you should be confident that you are not left alone at any stage. Thank you for your time. Stay blessed. Ameen.
एयर गाइड, आपके सफर का बाएतमाद मुंतजिम।